Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. Today is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. And before I get into it, I just want to say, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, click the notifications bell. It all helps me a lot. I appreciate your support. The sun is in Gemini today and the moon is in Libra, so it's a very airy intellectual vibe. It's about collaborating, it's about sharing ideas, and it's also about seeking balance and fairness in our lives. That waxing gibbous moon is a time when we are still taking action, working to culminate goals, complete goals that we have set for ourselves, so that when we get to that full moon on Saturday the 3rd, we will have something to look back on, pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, you did a good job. You got some things done, right? Jupiter is conjunct to the North Node right now, and it's really significant in that it is offering us really nice things if we choose to try to solve our conflicts by moving in the direction of financial solvency, material security, instead of leaning on our old habits, which at this time might feel better because the moon is on the South Node, really moving in the direction of having more sensuality, more ability to appreciate the fruits of our labors in our life. The more you work toward that, the more Jupiter is putting in toward your ability to sort of be, do, and have those bigger, better things that you would like to be, do, and have in your life. Now, the card that sits on the side of the page is the Eight of Swords. This is the last day for the Eight of Swords, and it represents the first 10 days of the sun's transit in the land of Gemini. That's where we get the Eight of Swords. Gemini is an air sign, as is Libra, as is Aquarius, and where Pluto is, and swords and tarot are air element symbolism. So that's about the thoughts, plans, and words you use. And we see in this image somebody who looks like they feel a little bit trapped. It's a very dismal scene. This person is sort of tied up and standing in what looks like sort of a muddy place with their eyes covered. The gray background gives away sort of the dismal feeling. And this is a feeling of being entrapped, of being stuck in a situation. And often when it comes to the Eight of Swords, this is a situation of your own making. It's like you talked yourself into it, or you talked your way into it. You planned your way into a situation. Look, when we don't know the details of living a certain way, we might idealize it, right? I might look at like Kim Kardashian's life and say, oh, she has such a great life. She has all the money and she's so beautiful and she can have all the cosmetics and she can dress any way she likes and she can do whatever she likes to do, right? But just because that looks ideal does not mean that it doesn't come with its problems, with its inefficiencies, right? And so sometimes we talk ourselves into pursuing some sort of ideal life there, whether that's like being extremely wealthy or just being extremely beautiful or being extremely valuable to somebody who has something that we want, that kind of thing. You talk yourself into a situation because you think it's going to give you what you want, and then you get there and you find yourself completely unexpressed and unable to be yourself. So you know this isn't going to work for you, right? This is that trapped feeling like, oh, I got myself into this and now I don't know how to get myself out. Well, the way out is the way you got in, with your thoughts, words, and plans. Okay, you're going to have to be honest with yourself about the change in your needs and desires now that you've gone down the track that you thought was ideal and it turned out not to be ideal. Now it's time to sort of turn around and sort of tell yourself the truth, like, I need to go back and try a different track. Tell the truth to the people around you. That makes that a little bit challenging and difficult, right? Like, you have to open up and say, I thought this was a good plan, but it's really not a good plan and I can't stay here any longer, right? The point being that you have the tools you need nearby, always accessible to you, to get yourself out of this entrapment. And with that said, I'm going to turn over this card. Oh, I got the Eight of Cups. So 2 8s. That's significant, all right? And again, we find a person who, this is a card about sort of being disappointed in something that you've put a lot of your heart, your spirit, your time, your expertise, your love into. Cups is about emotions, so it's about how you feel, and it's about how much feeling you have applied to something. And with the Eight of Cups, it's like you thought you could stack up all these beautiful golden or silver, or in this case, kind of holographic, it's so shiny, cups. So you thought you could stack up all these emotional experiences and get something that was satisfying. But what happened was you stacked them up and it wasn't satisfying, and you could see that it wasn't going to satisfy. It's the same thing here. You stacked up all these ideas and thoughts and plans so that you thought in a way that you thought would bring you fulfillment, would bring you the culmination that you were looking for. But instead you find disappointment. You find that you are unexpressed. You find that you are not able to share your love the way you would want, the way you thought you would be able to. So this is a time when we cut our losses and move on. Eight of Cups is very much about putting that old experience behind you. You know, by the time you get to the 8 out of 10, you've had a couple of disappointing experiences. And if we're talking about love or friendship and you know, sort of our relationships and connections to other people, then, you know, we have these disappointing experiences, and we kind of tend to learn slowly. Like, you know, you have one bad experience and you say, okay, well, I'm not going to do it this way again. And then you try a different way and you have another disappointing experience. You say, okay, I'm also not going to do it that way. Now it's time to open your eyes. Now it is time to turn toward what it is that you really love and desire for yourself. Okay. And, you know, you might have thought it was ideal to try to, you know, sort of take on maybe a career that would make you a whole lot of money, because it didn't matter whether it spoke to your spirit, as long as it made you, you know, wealthy, made you resource rich. And then you get this, you get to this point where you're getting resource rich, but you have begun to compromise your values, compromise your principles in order to sort of get that ideal sense of what you thought would be fulfilling for yourself. And when it comes to having to compromise our ideals and principles, that's never satisfying. It always leaves us feeling unexpressed. It always leaves us feeling like half fulfilled, partially fulfilled, but not completely fulfilled, right? Something is missing. So if something is missing, it's time to make another plan. It's time to use your words. It's time to envision a future where you do have what you need. And now that you know that it's not just money, or it's not just fame, or it's not just regard, or it's not just affection, now you know what you need, you know, in terms of feeling secure and safe in your life, right? In terms of feeling supported so that you can do the work that you love to do in your life. Now it's time to start looking in that direction and moving in that direction, okay? It's not a time to be stuck or trapped. It's a time to sort of break free from the old and bring on the new. All right, I think that's all I have to say about it, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate your presence here, and I'll see you all in the next video.